So in this video, we'll be sketching some geometric figures from words. And we want to do this because in geometry, it's really important to be able to use the symbols that you get in word problems correctly. Okay, and then be able to state some geometric relationships from those drawings that you make. Because mostly in geometry, we're given word problems. Okay, and you have to be able to deal with it. Life doesn't give you equations, it gives you word problems. So being able to figure those out is important. So here we have 4 different things that we're going to be drawing. The first one is we're going to be drawing this. And this says, of course, A as in point A. Point A is on line BC. So notice above here, this is a line with 2 arrows. This is talking about line BC. So we start by drawing a straight line with a couple of arrows on it. Okay, because that's how we draw a line. Now we can put some points on here representing the points B and point C. Okay, so now we're told that A is on that line, which means it's collinear. So the first way, let's put it inside here. Okay, so that's one way to draw it. Another way is to have point A be somewhere else on the line. Like, oh, I don't know, maybe to the left of BC this time. Okay, so there point A is still on line BC, it's just not in between the points B and C, right? We're not told that it's between the points, we're just told that it's on that line somewhere. Okay, and the line extends in both directions an infinite amount of spaces, so point A can literally be anywhere on there. It can be in the middle, or in between B and C. It can be to the right of point B, or it could be to the right of point C. So in all of these cases, we have point A being on line BC somewhere. Because we're not told where, it can go in either one of those 3 places. Okay, so let's look over here. We have lines AB and line CD are intersecting coplanar lines. Okay, that means they cross. So let's first draw line AB. So lines have arrows at the end, and then here is your points A and B on that line. And now let's draw line CD that just crosses, right? It doesn't say where they cross, it only says that they do cross. So here's line CD, as straight as you can possibly get it. And now we have to say they're coplanar, so we draw that by drawing a plane. Okay, and a plane is represented by a parallelogram. So we're just going to draw a plane or a parallelogram around this whole figure like that, so that we can kind of show you, put some grounding to it, that all of these things are on the same plane. Okay? And that's just how you would do that. A plane is drawn as a parallelogram, and here we have 2 intersecting lines called AB and CD. Okay, just like that. Okay, now this one is a really important distinction. So this says that B is on ray AC. So that's what this symbol means when we have a one-directional arrow, ray AC, which means it starts on A and goes in the direction of C, like this. So it starts on A and it passes through this point C. So that is ray AC. Okay, as opposed to this one, which is ray CA, which means it starts at point C and goes in the direction of A. So ray AC goes from A to the right through C, and ray CA goes the opposite direction. So it says that B is on this ray, so it's the black part of the ray, but not the blue part, which means that it can't be in between here. So ray, or point B, has to be to the right of C. That way it's still on the black line, right? The black ray is ray AC, but it's not on the blue line, the blue ray, which is CA. Okay, it's an important distinction of rays, where they start and where they go. And then lastly, we have this one that says solve. A is the midpoint of BC, of line or segment BC. So let's draw that here. A is the midpoint of BC. A is at 0, 0. So let's put some coordinates on here. Apparently these are coordinates. So here's point A at 0, 0, and the coordinates of B are at -2, -3. So here's B, and this is A, and A is the midpoint. So there's some segment called BC that travels through there over to here. Okay, here's the coordinates of B at -2, -3, and we want to know what the coordinates of C are. Okay, so the fact that this is a midpoint is very important. That means that the length from B to A is the same as A to C. Okay, now if we're talking about algebra, right, that means the distances that we travel have to be the same. So let's look at the x distance. We go from -2 to 0, right? In other words, we can make this triangle here, a horizontal distance traveled and a vertical distance traveled. So from B to A is 2 units to the right and 3 units up. So if we want to make sure that it's congruent, right, that means we have to go from the midpoint also 2 units to the right and another 3 units up in order for this to be equal. Okay, if the diagonals need to be equal, then the vertical and the horizontal pieces need to be equal also. So if that's true, then that means point C would be at the point 2, 3 in order for this diagonal line to be the same as this diagonal line. Okay, so we can talk about midpoints on a coordinate grid, or we can talk about midpoints of a segment. Okay, so there you go, different ways to represent and to draw these things. Okay, it's really important to pay attention to these symbols. Okay, the notation above the lines or the segments. I mean the letters, whether it be a true line, like this one's a line, or whether it be a ray, or whether it be a segment.